everybody. Welcome to the very first episode of VP Biz Tips. I am super excited to get this series started. We're going to be talking about everything business, from branding to marketing, sales, just everything. And I'm also going to be answering some questions in these videos that clients ask me, prospects ask me, and just stuff that I get in my inbox. So I'm super excited. We're going to kick off today with the topic of branding. I'm going to get into a few things about branding, what branding is and what branding is not. And I'm going to talk about what builds a strong brand. The first thing I want to say is a brand is not your logo. It's not your corporate identity. It's not your marketing and advertising. And it's not simply you. Those are aspects of your brand, but that's not your brand. And so I want to start there because a lot of times I find that people tend to think that that is what a brand is, that it just has a lot to do with the graphics that you use and things like that. And it's so much more than that if you're going to build a strong brand. A strong brand is about unique values, your mission statement. That's a huge part of your brand because that's the culture of your company and what you stand for. And I find that the most successful brands are brands that are true to their core values and their mission statement in everything that they do. Your brand is also about confidence, passion, a sense of belonging. Your brand should make people want to belong to it. It's something to belong to. And it's a guarantee that your business offers of some sort. And it's intangible. It's a feeling that you create as an experience that your customers, potential customers, have when they interact with your brand. The confidence, the passion, it creates a sense of belonging. And you know, when I talk about a sense of belonging, the best thing I can really think about when it comes to that is Nike. Nike is a really, really, really strong brand. Of course, you know that, right? Well, when you think about Nike, that brand creates a sense of belonging, right? Because when you look at all of their marketing and advertising, it makes you, it's a brand that athletes can really relate to. And it creates that sense of belonging. Every advertisement that you see them do, it creates this really good connection with their audience that matches their tagline of just do it, where you'll see an athlete kind of go through this process that all athletes go through, where they're trying really hard and then they kind of seem like they might fail, but then they kind of pick back up at the end and they just do it. So that's a sense of belonging. And that's one of the things that really makes Nike a really strong brand. Your brand also offers a guarantee. Whatever that guarantee is for your business, your brand should have something that's a guarantee, and typically it's something around quality or customer service. There's some type of guarantee that your brand offers that you want people to realize that they have to come to you for. And your brand is intangible. So like I said, it's not just your logo, it's not just the graphics that you're using, it's something that's intangible. It's an experience that you're creating everywhere that someone interacts with your brand. So you want to be creating the same experience every time. It's a feeling that your customers or potential customers feel when they interact with your brand. It's the way they feel when they see your website. It's the way they feel when they go on your Facebook page. Wherever they interact with your brand, you want to have a consistency about that feeling, that intangible feeling that you're creating with your brand. Another thing that a really good brand does is it creates an intended gut feeling. And it delivers a really clear message. Okay, so a brand that doesn't have a clear message that it's trying to convey through everything, through the visuals, the wording, the colors, the fonts, there should be an intended message and gut feeling that you're trying to create with an intended clear message. The message needs to be clear in order for you to create a strong brand. And it needs to establish and confirm your credibility, which is really, really huge, because one of the things that I see a lot is I'll talk to a potential customer or client, and they'll give me, when I interact with their brand, maybe on their social media, they're giving me professional, high quality, and then when I interact with them, with their brand on their website, they're giving me, cheesy, cheesy. That's the best way to put it. It's not top notch the way that they kind of led me to believe when I interacted with the brand on social media. So that's definitely something that you don't want to do, because your brand is establishing and confirming your credibility. And a strong brand makes an emotional connection with your target audience. If you're not able to create you're not able to create an emotional connection, you'll never have a strong brand. So this is where it comes in, understanding your target audience, what they're looking for and who they are, so that you can connect with them on an emotional level. And it motivates them to buy. A strong brand motivates people to buy. There's one thing to create this intended feeling, and you're doing everything else right with your brand. But if your brand does not motivate people to buy from you, then that's not going to be a strong brand. A strong brand also needs to establish loyalty from your customers. You can't have a strong brand without loyalty from your customers. One brand that I can really think of that is such a strong brand that it's gotten to the point where people use the brand as if it is the name of the product. And it's one of my favorite brands, Jacuzzi. When you think about Jacuzzi, and people say, well, I'm gonna go get in the Jacuzzi. And they say Jacuzzi as if Jacuzzi is the term hot tub, because like that particular hot tub is not a Jacuzzi. It's another brand, but they'll label it with the brand Jacuzzi. And so that's another really strong brand, because it creates a loyalty. There's some people who will not buy a hot tub that's not Jacuzzi, because Jacuzzi is the hot tub. Now, I'm going to discuss really quickly too what some poor or weak brands do. And this can kind of help you avoid having a really poor brand or a really weak brand. And the number one thing with poor branding is poorly defined brand guidelines. You really have to have some guidelines for your brand that you stick with. Okay? And that includes things like the fonts that you use, the colors that you use. Do the colors convey the appropriate message that you're trying to convey? Are you using the same colors each time, or do you just have way too much going on? Or have you even set a guideline for your brand for how you're going to do things? You really want to have a brand strategy and plan in place. And then no consistency of message. That's another thing that really poor or weak brands do. They don't have a consistency. So like I said, I'll talk to a client or potential client, and when I deal with them on their social media, they're giving me one thing. I go to their website and they're giving me, cheesy. I deal with them on social media and they're giving me, my business is doing great. Then I go to their website and they're giving me, I can't afford a website. You really want to just make sure, because this is the thing, if you're small and you can't afford to invest in your website, which we'll be talking about that in further videos because that's really important. But if you're really small and you can't afford to invest in a website, then it's better to not put across this really huge, try to put across this really huge perception elsewhere. You know, create your brand around you, and that, you know, it's okay to be small. People will deal with smaller businesses. So you don't have to really hide that, but you're better off just being who you are and being smaller on your social media, and then having that match the website that you have, so that people won't think that you're bigger, and then they go to your website and it becomes kind of apparent that you're not, because you really couldn't, you know, you couldn't really invest in a really good website. So that's another thing that'll really get in the way of your brand, is, you know, not having a consistency of brand. And having brand guidelines that don't show your value proposition. You know, to set up a brand that doesn't really put forth what your company is really all about and the value that you bring is going to make your brand really weak. And the last big thing is not dedicating yourself to your brand apart from sales. You know, I see a lot of people that they'll do whatever it takes to kind of just make a sale, and they don't really look at the overall strategy that they want to have for their brand. They're trying to get anybody that they can. So there's not really a clearly defined guideline, and they're not really dedicating themselves to their brand. Your brand takes time to build, okay? A brand is not something that you can just throw up overnight. It takes time to build it. So you're going to have to invest in it monetarily and time-wise in order to build a really strong brand. I mean, it's going to take time, and you're going to have to be dedicated to it. There's no way around it. You're going to have to monitor that brand, have a strategy, measure that strategy, and, you know, all that good stuff. So that's all we're going to talk about today on branding. If you're interested in me helping you with your branding, we have some links below. Also, if you're looking for some more in-depth stuff, we're going to have a lot of that going on with our VIP club. There's a link below if you want to join that. We really get into a lot of meaty stuff in the VIP club, and it's just an exclusive club for really, really serious entrepreneurs that are really looking to, you know, really build their businesses. So check out those links below, and be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time. Thank you.